Seriously, ring the bell.
The bell's not ringing yet.
Ring the bells.
Please ring it now. Ding, 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 ding. I'm also a bell. Yeah, ring the bell, please.
Why are they not ringing the bell?
Yeah, ring it now. He sounds like he's dying. Please ring it so no more people die.
My ass is on fire.
Oh God, ring the bell.
Ring the bells.
Ring the bell, please.
Someone call the fire brigade.
Ring the bell.
We don't have a fire brigade.
If anything, it covers up the nose of those people dying. Ring the mother bell. Ring, ring, ring,
Ring the bells. 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 Ring the bells.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to IGN Watch Party for Game of Thrones, presented by Army National Guard. I'm Sydney Goodman. Yes, you are. And next to me, we've got Nick Mundy.
Let's sign some petitions. Let's sign some petitions.
And we've got Terry Schwartz.
Don't sign the petition, everyone. It's coming. Final episode tonight. It's happening.
And with us tonight, our very special guest, Donald Faison. Please don't upstage me on my own show.
I love that video a lot.
I love that video so much, Sydney.
I'm so glad.
Terry,
you guys-
did you know that there might have been some oopsie goose and some mix-ups
What?
from that video?
I thought that was all a first take.
No, there's apparently many takes.
Well, you
There
did
was
it,
a lot
okay?
of unused footage. Yeah.
Oh, really? Play it.
No,
Play it.
Roll the tape.
Wait, you are really...
Parking lot next to our building. Sydney, when I grow up, I'm just a sliver of the amount of confidence it took to nail that video.
Sometimes you just have to pretend no one's gonna see it.
When's your mix? No one's watching this. This isn't live, by the way.
Were those all your clothes?
No, I wish it was. Allison brought me wardrobe.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shout
But
out
the
to
funny
Allison.
thing is that's the second time she brought wardrobe, and every time I was actually wearing the exact same pants that she brought in. So,
Says a lot about
Anyways,
you.
Game of Thrones. It's happening tonight for the final time. So if you have a claim to the throne, speak now or forever hold your peace, because the show's going away, so not much you can do about that. You know what? I am feeling a little nostalgic. We're getting into summer. It's the end. It's going to be over. I feel like we should all be signing yearbooks. So let's do this. We're going to dish out your Westeros Class of 2019 Senior Awards. Who gets what? Nick, let's start with you.
I feel like that one.
Oh, sorry. I
Oh,
messed
geez.
up. We're rolling this first.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you're so
That was like the
didn't
one
make it.
legitimate moment the show has had. That wasn't just riddled with sarcasm and like. Okay, well here we go.
Okay, Nick, now it's actually your time. You're
Yes.
giving a award. Giving
Game
an
of
award.
Thrones there's a lot of fighting in Game of Thrones. It had some really cool, one would use the word epic fight scenes. So
Okay.
what I think is the best fight scene, feel free to agree with me, is Ramsay versus them dogs.
Oh, you mean when he gets eaten by his own dog?
Yeah, is that really a fight?
It involved two competitors.
I think
Oh.
Sansa
there was an
won that
audience-
fight.
I
Oh,
was
I
like, no.
forgot about that. I
You
mean, I
forgot
forgot
about
that how much they showed. I thought it was just. I forgot that. Ooh, we got some.
Yeah.
I mean, he
Flesh eating.
deserved it more than
Oh,
any other character on
I'm
the show.
not arguing about that.
Did he have his bad decisions bite him in the face?
My favorite part of that fight was he was really hurt and couldn't do much about it. And It was enjoyable.
Now seems like the wrong.
That wasn't a fight, though.
Yeah, that seems like
just
a wrong time to tell you
Sansa
how
was an
fights work.
audience member. She watched it. There were two competitors. There was
She
a fight.
murdered him. I'll agree. I'll say that.
Okay, well, we get the
Murder's
best
fight?
murder.
I will say my favorite. I think one of my favorite fights in the whole show, even though a lot of people have issues with like the logic of it, is what came before that great fight.
Right,
But the
absolutely.
Battle of the
Right,
Bastards, like,
right.
Well, that was a
whew,
battle.
well, that's a fight.
Well, the
What do
two
you
of them,
think?
with the
fight?
two of them squared off, though. Head to head.
A battle is a series of fights happening at the same time
Okay.
among
This
multiple
was just
people.
one fight.
Okay, math.
When Pedro Pascal got his eyes poked out, that's the best battle in Game of Thrones history. There it is right there.
Oh, there it is.
Wow. Kick some ass, Pedro. Kick some ass, Mandalorian. Uh-oh.
Still to this day.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
Are we gonna see it?
Oh,
Are we
yes.
gonna see it?
Yes. Yes.
Is this the rated? No. Oh
Yes.
no! Cut away.
Yes.
Oh my
what
god.
a way to die.
The best way to die.
Like, can you actually imagine that is...
No. Also, the mountain.
Can you imagine?
I'm trying not to.
Hey, IGN Watch Party members, can you imagine dying that way?
Let us know in the comments below how you think it would feel.
I do like that the mountain has only one move though, because he tried to do that on the Hound last week
It's
too,
just
and it's like
I mean, it works.
it's effective.
I would spam the same
guess.
move.
I mean, I just think that's like the most painful way to die. First your
Worse
eyes.
than dogs eating your flesh.
First your eyes, then your brain. I mean, come on.
Do you think he touched brain?
Yeah, he touched brain. That's how he died. Yes, he went all the way from the eye into the brain.
Who said this is our last watch party? Apparently, Sydney needs to go back and rewatch season 4, episode
Oh my
9
gosh.
or 8. Let's
And
do
if
it.
you touch brains, leave us a comment.
We'd love to know
We
your
want to hear from
experience.
you. Can we not talk briefly though about Brienne versus the Hound? That to me is my favorite fight
Oh, yeah.
in the series. How well choreographed. She bit off his ear. Remember?
Hardcore.
Yeah.
Didn't involve dogs or brains.
Yeah.
That's I
Okay,
guess,
well,
then.
Terry, you're up next.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure my superlative what was the most shocking moment.
Yes. Lots of shocking moments.
Lots of shocking moments. I mean, this show is kind of built on shocking moments from the very beginning, with Ned getting beheaded and actually dying from there on out. But for me, the most shocking moments, because I read the book, so I knew some of those
We
other
know.
ones. I know. This is the
You're
last time you have
so
to hear about it.
intelligent.
No, we got it. You're
I
smarter
read
than us.
words.
Did you read the book?
I read the books. I know a couple times. Full of brags.
So you don't
this-
know anything about this last season, then? Though.
And I didn't know anything about the Sept of Baelor blowing up. That whole setup at the beginning of that episode was like perfect. I argue that the first 20 minutes of that episode is the best episode any of Game of Thrones
Have they
ever.
asked you what's better, the book or the show?
Well,
Yeah. Have you heard that yet?
No.
Well, what's
talked
better, the
about
book
that
or the
yet?
show, Terry?
Well, I don't know. We gotta wait for George to actually finish the books, I guess. We'll find out then. But yeah, the
you're very
Sept of
open-minded.
Baelor blowing up, I just kept waiting for it to not happen. And then it did. And like all these characters just wiped out, and Cersei just like the balls of her in that scene to just be sitting there, and then the music playing. My jaw was on the floor. I loved it.
It was pretty funny when Joffrey's brother jumped off them.
It's funny.
That
Yeah.
was, well, I don't know if it was funny, but that was.
It was funny.
I'm laughing now, but I'm not laughing at that. It was something else we talked about earlier.
It was that. Me and Donald were like, hey, remember that dude jumped off? I was like, yeah, I know.
Remember that really
We're best
sad
friends.
suicide?
Best friends. Yeah!
I'm surprised you didn't say the Red Wedding.
But see,
Or you already knew because you read the book.
I think, yeah.
Well, I had never read
I
the
didn't
book.
read the books, and
I think the first time I saw when Ned Stark died, I think that for everyone who ever watched Game of Thrones, let them know right then and there, oh, this is going to be something completely different. I thought this was a show about this guy. No one's safe. So I think that's the most shocking, to this date still, the most shocking death.
No,
So
I could
good.
get down with that. Set the pace.
And I think it changed TV forever in that way, because we weren't used to those kind of massive misdirects in TV, and now you've seen a lot of other shows try to kind of replicate that and have that shock value element. But he really was the first one, and then how can it ever get worse? Well, the Red Wedding,
Then they
of
found
course.
ways.
Which I think everyone who experienced that, like when I read the books, when I experienced that, I set the book down and I didn't pick it back up for a week. I was like, this show hurts me. This story hurts me. Why do I want to
I
put
remember
myself
where
through
I
it?
was when because I was cooking dinner, and then I started cooking dinner towards the end, and I was like, oh, okay, nothing's really gonna happen, like just gonna cook. And then I just remember turning and being like, this pregnant woman's getting stabbed. Like, I can't do this. And I just like ditched dinner and just sat on the couch and was like, wow.
Sydney's never cooked
That just
dinner
happened.
again.
I've never cooked dinner since.
You learned your
I
lesson.
remember thinking that they made such a big mistake when they killed Ned Stark. I was like, this show is the worst. They killed the best character on the show. This show will never survive.
Wait, why'd you keep watching that?
And here we are.
Have you thought about starting a petition?
Bring Ned back?
Yeah.
It could happen tonight, baby!
One more to go. One more to go.
Okay, so, oh, sorry, go.
No, I was gonna bring up my all-time favorite scene ever. Like, these are all like fight scenes,
Yeah.
battles. Terry read the book.
Have you heard I read the book?
Yeah. So my favorite all-time scene, and I think it's a scene everyone agrees with, and it happened this season, and it's when Tormund talked about the giant's breast and how he got his name, Giant's Bane, and it was my favorite part. I was fist pumping.
That's my favorite part of this scene is like the look on Jaime's face as Tormund is making moves on Brienne.
Yeah, and she
he's
picked the
kinda-
wrong one.
When he looks at her right there, that's my favorite moment this season.
When Tormund got
Really?
friend
Even
zoned.
knowing how, like,
I
the rest
was
of the
disappointed the
decisions?
way that
Because
it went.
actually, I haven't rewatched any of the episodes since the season started. And just watching that little clip and seeing Jaime look at her, I'm like, fake! You're a liar!
I know. I wish
Like,
that they
I
hadn't
can't-
gone the other way with it. We talked about this last week, but
Yeah.
I almost wish that they hadn't. I wish they just left it at the knighting, and he didn't need to sleep with her in that.
So
could
you
have
feel
been-
like Jaime totally, what's the word I'm looking for? And I'm forgetting it live.
Played her?
On redemption. You feel like Jaime found total redemption and deserved to live at the end of this show?
No,
So
I just...
then why would you want him to be sincere about anything he said to this woman?
No, because I think he changed. I think he saw in Brienne.
Well, it's obvious he didn't change. He went back to his sister at the end of the show anyway.
Yeah, I think he saw in
So you
Brienne
would
the
have fell
best.
for it too. I'm just putting it out there. Jaime's game is real, y'all.
He's got. I mean, look
Jaime's
at
game
him.
is real.
Look at him.
I'd
of
be
course,
down.
his game is real.
me too.
He's
ditch me
Sydney's
in
number
Winterfell.
one
Yeah, me
for
too.
sure. Still,
Leave me
even
in
last week.
Winterfell.
I think that he saw in Brienne the best parts of himself that he wanted to aspire to, but I think his decision to go back to Cersei was him saying, "I've done too many horrible things to actually earn that redemption." My thing is, I wish he'd done that bit of good to Brienne in knighting her and giving her that, and I wish the show didn't feel the need to like have him sleep with her like she needed that validation. I think that especially for him to just turn around and be like, never mind, I'm going back to Cersei. I think that it could have done without that part and left like him knighting her as his way of kind of expressing his affection for her.
At that moment, I was like, wow, he's totally redeemed. And then they slept together, and I was like, oh, he's still a dog. Wow.
Maybe they were trying to make it like relatable. Like it's like,
Yeah.
oh, relate to Game of Thrones.
But
But
everyone-
he didn't need to sleep with her for her to be validated. You know what I mean?
No, for sure. I agree with that. So Donald, we're speaking about the Lannisters, and who would you say is your absolute favorite character on the show?
Tyrion Lannister, by far.
Yeah.
on
I
the
can
show.
get down with Tyrion.
Yeah, you could get down with Tyrion.
I mean,
He looked at her right there in the picture like, yeah, right.
Speaking of characters who have game, though, I mean, Tyrion's number one. He's drank the most wine on the show. We found out with a great social IGN.
I don't know about
graphic.
game. I say he got the most privilege out of everybody on the show. Tyrion is the Lannisters are the most privileged family in the show by
For
far,
sure.
and Tyrion is no exception.
I don't know. The Tyrells were probably even more so. Those guys were up
But
there
they
on
had
asses.
ethics and morals of sleeping our way to the top, and it worked kind of
Till they got blown up by
till they
Green.
got blown up.
so I guess.
I'm sorry.
That's
I
a lesson
mean,
for
they don't
everybody.
Even, they don't even deserve the throne, and they sit on it.
I
I'm
wonder if
saying.
there will be any, like Tyrion has kind of had this funky arc the past couple seasons of really reaching his peak when he was in King's Landing, and then since being with Daenerys, he's kind of been demoted to second tier character. I really am curious if in this final episode if they give him some like really meaty dialogue and scenes to chew on. I loved the Jaime and Tyrion goodbye in the last episode, and some of those scenes back in episode 2 this season. But I want more Tyrion. I want more like
Yeah.
season 3 Tyrion.
I think you're gonna get a lot of Tyrion at the end of this episode. I have a feeling, and I think a lot of us out there believe the same thing, that Tyrion Lannister will sit on the Iron Throne at the end of all of
Give him the flames. That's a hot take.
That
That's
is
a hot
this.
take.
Put the flames on.
Yeah,
Burn,
give him
burn
the-
them
yeah.
up. Burn them.
Just like last week's episode. episode.
Yeah, exactly. That was such a good recap.
Right?
Right. Let me take off the hat. Bald. Now I'm bald.
Hey, look,
In
it's
case
a
you guys
child on
didn't watch
fire.
last week's episode. Okay, so I've got mine for the group, my favorite one-liner from the show. For me, it is a pearl of wisdom from Arya's sword trainer, Syrio. It is, there's only one thing we say to the god of death. Not today.
Not today.
Great call.
Look how, oh, she's such a baby,
She murdered
Little
him.
did we know how many people she'd go on to kill.
right?
It took how many seasons has Game of Thrones been on for? 8?
Yeah, this
It
is
took
it.
it took 6 years for that line to finally pay off.
Seriously.
And
Okay.
then they never brought it up again.
And never brought it
Yeah,
up.
it was like-
So if you didn't know, when she said not today, you were like,
I'm surprised Arya didn't look at her and be like, wait, what?
what did he say right now?
Oh, that? What?
After all this time,
Wait, you're... No!
I will say my favorite one-liner is probably not one that anyone thinks of, but I use it all the time in regular conversation, not related to Game of Thrones, but it's when Old Nan says to like Bran or someone, remember Old Nan back in the first season? And she's like, oh, you sweet summer child, where basically just all these summer children who don't know the ways of the world, and I use that.
I'm pretty sure you've said that to me before.
I absolutely have.
I don't have a favorite line. I have a favorite aha moment when I
Okay.
realized that General Veers was the old dude freaking faking his injuries in Game of Thrones. It was the old dude that was everybody's, like, at one point he's somebody's hand. What's the old dude's name? Come on, the old dude that's like, oh, my leg, my
the
leg.
old dude.
But then
Mr.
on-
Pycelle,
Right.
right? Yeah.
That's General Veers from Empire Strikes Back. That was an aha
I did not connect
Aha.
that. I did not connect that. That's a good aha moment.
Okay, so we know that there is a prequel series in the works already, but it feels like the Game of Thrones universe has room for a lot more new shows. So we've reached out to you, the good people of the internet, to tell us some of your favorite ideas for Game of Thrones spin-offs. Let's check in with our social producer, Jeffrey, for some of the best ideas. Vega, what you got?
Yes, we tweeted and asked, and the internet came through. Check out this for a spin-off. Anubis999 said, The Adventures of Ghost and Tormund in the real North, and maybe something about Rhaegar and Lyanna.
The first part.
I would watch that.
The second part, come on. You don't want to find out about what happened during
No, I wanna
Robert's
see Tormund
rebellion.
and
Tormund and dog.
Yeah.
Tormund and
Everything,
dog.
everything's better with more dogs.
Okay, Vega, what else?
All right, love this one from Ben Redmond. Muppet Babies, Game of Thrones.
Oh my gosh.
That Kid Harington one is terrifying.
I like the Cersei one.
The Alfie one's really cute.
The
my
Night
God,
King
look
looks
at-
the same.
Look, a little gray worm.
Okay, what else? You got any more?
All right, this is my personal favorite one. The origin story of the Iron Bank. Game of Loans. I mean, like, how did they
Jeffrey,
get the
you're
money?
fired.
That's the best the internet came up with.
All right, well, that one I tweeted from my dummy account.
Alrighty, well, thank you, Vega. We'll check in with you a little bit later. Jeffrey is keeping an eye out for your Burning Thrones questions, so please post them, please, in the comments wherever you are watching. And we've actually each got our own ideas for spin-offs. So, Nick, why don't you start?
All right. What we love about Game of Thrones is that it's about the human condition and what happens when we tear that away to where we're just like animals. And I want to continue those themes of narcissism and nihilism in my spin-off play.
On the next That's So Gilly, Sam's boss from the Maestry is coming over for a surprise dinner, and Gilly has nothing to cook.
You're such a troll, but I knew Gilly was your favorite.
What are you talking about? That's just like a show that he's not ready for dinner.
That is a show.
And that's what most sitcoms. That's the storyline right there.
That's all stories from the Bible to Game of Thrones. We're not ready for dinner. We're gonna find out later tonight. I'm fired.
Alrighty,
You're certainly not coming back for the next episode.
Terry, how about you?
So I also took this very comedically and decided to just go very seriously back to the books and ring the bell, pun not intended, for a spin-off or a prequel series that I wanted to see for many years about one of the biggest mysteries still in the world of A Song of Ice and Fire. Roll the tape.
On TNT, which is
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that it's going to be on TNT. It already has its full series pickup. No, so the Doom of Valyria, or the Fall of Valyria, is this really mysterious time in the history of the world as we know it. Basically, the Valyrian Empire wasn't technically an empire, but people kind of referred to it as that. Was like the Roman Empire at the height of its power, and it was all based in the country of Valyria, which, as you saw kind of in that clip we saw briefly in Game of Thrones, it's where all the people with grayscale were staying. But something happened. Like the Targaryen family started there, but they left like a decade or so before this mysterious doom happened. And basically, at the height of its power, at the height of its magic, at the height of its dragon, something happened and Valyria fell. And it was just destroyed and decimated, and it's just like the smoking remains. And I want to know what happens. And
So no one knows what happened.
No one knows what happens. George R. R. Martin has kept it intentionally vague in like all kind of his stories.
Does he know what happened?
I think he could find out if we got a prequel series, and he had to write it in a timely manner.
Okay, well, Donald, you've got one involving Sam Tarly, I believe.
Yeah, the dude has 2 kids. One's not his. One is. I like to see a show, maybe on ABC Family, Freeform. My 2 Bastards.
My 2 bastards.
One's mine, one's not. They're my 2 bastards.
When you wake up in the morning and your brother's not your brother.
I feel like this
But
could
it is his
be
brother. It's still his brother.
Yeah.
this.
It's his brother.
The spin-off
They're
of
just
That's
not
So
married. They're
Gilly
just not
is
married.
My 2 Bastards.
We're gonna
Yeah.
bring back TGI Friday.
My show's not going to get a pickup.
Like the restaurant?
Your show is sadly enough.
Your
Right.
sweet summer child.
The series show, sadly enough, isn't going to get a pickup. My 2 Bastards will be on this fall.
And it's going to
Tuesday
get
nights.
10 seasons.
Right.
Alrighty, well,
Syndicated and
I
everything.
also have one. Let's roll the thing, as they say. Meaning. So you think they all died, but we'll find out if they actually did. That's why we need the show.
I really like your show.
Thank you.
Teens.
Thank you. Tree Teens.
Also a full series
On
pickup.
MTV.
On MTV.
On MTV. Do you think it's like a reality show, like a Big
It's
Brother
definitely
situation?
it's not Big Brother, the real world.
The Real World,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
What
Road
happens
Wolf.
when
But
someone's
do you guys
true?
actually think, like I've heard people ask that, like,
And
what happened to the
starts
Children of the
getting
Forest?
real.
I took it as they all died when, like, the Hodor stuff happened and, like, the Night King found out where they
I did
were.
too,
Yeah.
yeah.
But they have been around for,
But
like, hundreds of
Honestly, anytime something happens in the show, I just kind of assume that I'm wrong. Like, I'm like, oh, I think this happened, but that's probably not what happened, so who knows?
Yeah.
Have
Anyway,
any of you, sorry, don't mean to cut you
no,
off. I know
please.
we're live. Have any of you made money off of this show yet?
off of Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
I mean, we are
And what
technically being
capacity?
paid to be here right now. Does that count?
Other than this, I made money. I bet with
betting.
a waiter that these 2 would be related, and I was right. Danny and Jon Snow, I was right about it.
You
Dude
called
paid
it?
me some money. It was lovely. Just want to put it out there. Dude, you paid.
Over
You paid
what,
up.
over what span of time did this happen? Like, did you go to, like, Wendy's in,
I
like,
had
season
read it
3
online
and then
that it
came
was
back?
gonna happen, and this dude apparently didn't read it online, and so when
And
he
then
was
you, like, came back
he
to,
was
like, get your cash?
Well, he said some dumb shit. He was like, I think, he's like, I think the Lannisters are really Targaryens, and I was like, oh word, is that what you think? I said, I bet you any amount of money that Jon Snow and Dany are related, and he was like, that's impossible. I was like, I bet you they are, and he was like, no, they're not. And then I was right.
I like that he was all in on the Tyrion is a secret Targaryen fan, or secret Targaryen fan theory, but like the biggest fan theory in the history of Game of Thrones.
Maybe he doesn't have
But
access
isn't
to
Tyrion
internet.
still in that fan theory? Wasn't he in that fan theory at the beginning of the season? You guys didn't find it strange that dragon didn't eat him when he opened the door and the dragon's looking at him face to face and had the moment to eat him and didn't? Isn't it possible that Tyrion actually
This sounds
is...
like a hot take.
Burn him!
Get some flames.
Burn him!
Give him the flame!
I hope Jeff from IHOP is watching this.
Okay, so speaking of flames and people dying, did you see that? That was a good segue. Let's take some time to pay our respects to the characters and storylines that the show just abandoned. So these things all felt really important for a minute, and now where are they? I have one to start us off, which is Dany's good friend, Dario. Let's take some time to pay our respects to the characters. I'm literally reading what I just said. So now I'm going to read the next thing when it gets onto the prompter. All right. So I like to imagine a lot of things about Dario Naharis, most of which are too explicit to talk about here. So whatever happened to the second hottest man to bang a queen on this show?
He became Beast from X-Men. No.
Here's what I like to think he's up to. Dario sells off whatever he stole from the Myronese pyramids and makes a killing. Then it's early retirement for Dario. He buys a nice little place on the beach and passes the time teaching wave riding to Essos teens and seducing Valyrian lady tourists or men tourists, whatever. The guy can get it.
Both of them?
Sure. Why not? They both can. Why not both, right?
One of my biggest things that kind of set up Daenerys' turn last episode that people found really surprising was like, remember when she conquered 3 cities in a different continent, and then when they were at the height of their disarray, she had her now ex-boyfriend who's like a sellsword, just run him. And she's like, all right, well, let's
Bye.
never think about this again. And she never did. And he almost certainly is not still there.
Or is he?
Or is he? We'll never
Who
find
can say?
out.
Not us, because they didn't put it in the show. All right, Nick. I know you're talking about a character you're very passionate about.
Look, well, everyone loves him. It's Hot Pie. The sweet little baker boy, baker of delicious breads. You're the new owner of the Inn of the Kneeling Man. Now you can make any bread your little heart desires. Rabbits and deers and rams and lions, and maybe even a bear or two. Who wrote this? Yeasty rolls
You did.
are second to none. And the way you mix dried fruit into your braided breads, you keep that bread rising, and may the sun always shine on your sweet. Who wrote this? Hot Pie. Real quick. The character I also wanted to talk about was that dude from the first episode that we never saw again. Who was like, "Here, Khaleesi, here are your dragon eggs. They are beautiful." What happened to that guy?
I think he's still in Pentos.
I want that guy. He's a big weirdo.
Well, you should have pitched that in one of your spin-offs
Yeah.
instead of going with Gilly.
You missed your chance. Terry, what do you got?
Well,
Who are we talking about?
one of my favorite storylines that went nowhere on Game of Thrones, the storyline of Dorne. Back in season 5, I know
love
most of
Dorne.
these characters
They all died.
ended up dying on screen, but hashtag justice for the Sand Snakes. It's the home of the Martell family, their impressive sexual proclivities, and badass heroine bastard girls. But we want hashtag way more Dorne, especially since we got that name drop that there apparently is a new prince in Dorne, which is impressive because we only ever saw about 3 people in that entire section of Westeros. So I know Dorne has a new prince, but that's about it. Thankfully, I have got notebooks full of Dornish fanfiction, so I can tell you that he seems very likely to be a keen political mind and also a very considerate lover. So trust me, it's all there in the books if you read them. If you want to hear about him.
Is Dorne the Florida of Westeros?
It is more the Hawaii of Westeros in the books, but definitely more the Florida or New Jersey.
Yeah, they're probably
in
dealing with a hurricane.
the show. No offense to people from Florida or New Jersey. They're great. It's a
I'm
compliment.
about to say, why do you have to put Jersey up here? Get him. Fine.
Did you, did you
Have
just
you
cover that up
driven
by saying it's a
on
compliment?
95 through Jersey? It doesn't smell too
I'm from the
great.
tri-state area.
I know, it doesn't smell too
well
good.
aware of what's going on in Jersey. Shout out to New Jersey.
I told you it's a compliment. It's a compliment.
Terry, can you stop insulting the guests?
All right, all right.
I'm from
Settle
New
down.
York, but shout out to Jersey.
Time now for the final edition of Gaming of Thrones.
She did it.
Okay, so we are about ready to place our bets about tonight's finale. We even have a nice little sword that is separating the yes from the no in case it wasn't obvious enough for you. So, starting with, will Daenerys die? Nick Mundy, yes or no?
No.
What? It's a bad take.
I don't even get a choice. 'Cause
And
it'll probably
Terry
be
fell on the
wrong.
ground. Terry, will Daenerys die?
It'll probably be wrong because I'm gonna go with all Nick's choices this one. No, she won't die.
Oh.
You've done really well.
The
Yeah.
most
I don't know
stimulating
anything about
game
Game
is
of
when
Thrones.
everyone chooses the same. And Donald, what do you think? Will Dany die?
Yeah, she dead.
I'm with you on
She
that.
died from stress from last week's episode.
What if she just dies of a heart attack?
What if she pulls a really funny move like Tommen
Slips
and
off the
kills
gra-
herself?
Slips off the ground. Watch this.
That is one way to go. Will Bronn kill Tyrion? Nick?
Tyrion will die, but it's not because of Bronn.
So, no.
Yeah.
Oh my lord.
I really don't get to make it.
Yeah, Terry, sorry. Okay, Bronn. Does he kill Tyrion?
This was my suggestion to add to this, so I should go with yes because of that. But I think Bronn's gonna come. I think Tyrion's gonna get his comeuppance in some way, whether Bronn or otherwise. We'll see.
Why does Tyrion need to get his comeuppance?
I don't know, because he's been promising a lot without ever paying off for many seasons, and I have a feeling that it might come around to be a disservice to him.
He
Oh,
might
great,
be.
Matt Terry's back.
Okay, I guess I'm gonna have to say yes, because
Yes.
book reader over here.
I don't know if you've heard, but she's read the books. Yeah, I don't know. I hope not. I hope if he dies, it's like some very epic thing and not from Bronn just like shooting him.
Well,
in
I
the
didn't say
face.
Bronn was gonna do it, but you know what?
Oh, so do you
know
want
what? Bronn's
me to
gonna
move
do
you?
it. Leave it there. Bronn, you
Okay,
said Bronn's gonna do it, right?
Yeah, I said Bronn's
Bronn's
gonna
do it.
Round 2 for that.
Okay, so the question we are all asking ourselves is, will Arya wear someone's face, or is that just
Talk
done?
about a storyline that went nowhere.
It has to happen. It has to happen.
Okay.
I'm gonna say no because I think Arya's gonna teach Jon how to wear a face, and then Jon's gonna wear Arya's face and surprise Dany.
Remember that season?
I
that
don't
storyline?
know that that's correct. Remember that storyline?
And these are guesses.
And they're
It
the
took-
same height too, so
Yeah.
you might be
It took
right.
Arya 2 full seasons to learn how to do that in true Game of Thrones season 8 fashion. He'll learn
I believe
off
also the
screen.
show has proven that Jon can do anything, but just dumbly.
Yeah. So
He'll just look
get
really
himself killed in the
confused while
process.
doing it. So Terry, what do you think?
I've gone yes all season, and I'm gonna go yes now because,
Okay.
like, seriously, what a disappointment if they build up all that and she doesn't do it with
Agreed.
a single character.
I think she did it already. I think it happened, so it's not gonna happen again. I think she did it with the Night King when she killed the Night King. She was wearing
Okay.
a dead face, and they cut it out the show. My prediction.
I got it. It was an off-screen thing.
It was an off-screen thing.
Yeah.
That's right. It was
Okay.
off-screen.
So I'm gonna say yes, just because I think
off-screen.
it'd be really funny if they didn't. But I'm still gonna choose yes. Okay, so is there still an Iron Throne left? I guess we don't really have confirmation of that. Nick, what are you thinking? Yes or no?
No, nope. The wheel breaks tonight.
Well, so okay.
But do you think the Iron Throne physically
That's
will
fine.
be?
I'm not
it's
sure
gonna
that
be
you answered
no,
the question.
No, they're like all the bird people are gonna be like just selling it for like.
For scrap
Yeah.
metal?
They're just gonna be taking the copper out of the Red Keep.
All the bird
Terry,
people.
what do you think?
I think no. I think that there is not going to be an Iron Throne left
And
at the end
Donald?
of this.
Oh, sorry, I cut you off. I was so excited.
Fine.
I think for purposes for fans that want to see it happen, I think there will be an Iron Throne, and I think somebody will sit on the Iron Throne.
Oh,
if they
okay.
don't do it, I mean, come on.
That means
It's
that
gonna
Donald's
happen.
probably right. Because
Yeah.
I
everything
actually
they've done
think
this
thinking
season has
about
been
what the fans
on
want
the
the most
assumption.
is a really good way to guide yourself. I'm gonna
Well, this will be
say
the one time they do it. How about that?
All right.
Yeah, they wrote this season using Twitter polls.
I'm gonna say yes, just to even it out. Okay, so does Bran
That
do
just
anything?
makes me feel
Nope.
great about my answer.
Nope.
Thank you.
Moving on.
Literally anything of value in this episode. Nick,
Nope.
I know he's your favorite.
Nope.
You don't even need to cut to Nick. He's already
Nope.
he's shouting
Nope.
no from
Nope.
across the room.
Even though I predicted it last week. Nope.
I'm gonna go with yes. I'm gonna
Really?
say.
Would you
I'm
like to tell us what you think he's gonna do?
just something? we're saying absolutely nothing of value. I think he'll do something
He
of
won't
value.
blink.
From minimum to maximum levels of value, I think he'll do something.
Something. All
Yeah.
right, Donald, how you feeling?
Hell no. He's gonna stare just like he did in the last episode and the episode before that.
I'm gonna agree with that. I don't think he's gonna do a
It's
damn
such
thing.
a good Bran impression. Have you been practicing?
All
there,
right. So,
It's uncanny.
will this all end with Sam writing the story? Nick?
This is like
No,
total
it's gonna be
cheating.
Gilly writing the story, and then Sam's gonna cross out her name and then write Sam.
It could be Davos too, because they taught him how to read and write.
Nick, you've said no for everything.
Yeah, I know.
One of my
Terry,
favorite
what about
things
you?
about this is that off screen, every time our producer Gabe hears one of these, he goes, "Huh!" Like it's a really clever idea that he didn't help put up on the board. I love this theory, but I think no, it's not going to happen.
You think not? Donald, do
Gabe
you
has not watched the show.
think Sam is writing the story?
No, I think Sam dies tonight and his kids write the story.
Oh.
And you find out about that in Two Bastards.
I know.
Spin-off.
I'm also gonna say no. So sorry, no one's saying yes.
Oh
for
my
this.
God, imagine
I'm not gonna fall on that sword just for the sake of this segment. Will you be happy with the ending? This is pretty amorphous. Nick, will you be happy with the ending?
No, but it has nothing to do with the show.
Okay. At least you're
It's
honest.
2019, man.
Nick, you've said no to literally everything. Terry, will you be happy?
No, come on. No, it's fine. That's what the post show's for.
Okay. And Donald, will you be happy?
Absolutely.
Oh, I like that. That's
Regardless
great.
of what happens, it's
And-
an end of an era, people.
Yeah.
Television as we know it comes to an end tonight.
It's HBO, it's not TV.
No more TV after
That's
tonight.
right.
I hope you enjoy it.
So, what would it be then? Cable as we know it comes to an end tonight.
It's over.
I think we have no choice but to be happy. And
Yeah.
those of us who are hating on this season right now, I'm sorry, but you just look at the visuals. The visuals are so dope. Just look at the visuals.
I'm
All
just happy
right,
to
well,
be here
I
with all
don't
you
think I'll be
guys.
happy because of
think
the way
I
I am. So I'm just gonna put my face right there.
Sorry,
Okay,
you're
so
with the
how
wrong
many?
group of naysayers
It's all
tonight.
good. Y'all
Yeah,
get
it's
on.
good. It balances
Y'all need
it
to get
out.
on them drugs to get it going. Get on them drugs to get it going.
Post show.
I'm just saying.
Gabe.
All right, how many characters die tonight? Nick,
How many are left?
All of them.
all of
Except for
them.
Danny.
You think Danny
You just
was-
walked me into
So-
a conundrum.
Right,
So
yeah, you
infinity
did.
minus one.
Yeah.
So, okay, I think I can handle that.
I like we're out of threes, we're out of eights.
Well, I have the threes,
There we go.
Can we
make
get a
the
minus
8.
one
So you
too?
got infinity sideways.
and then
Perfect.
we're gonna go minus.
Yeah.
It's not my time.
Minus one.
The
That
host
looks
is
like
with
a
the
Mario
most.
level.
Terry, how
Infinity.
many people are dying?
2.
Oh, dang it. Okay. I was
I
gonna
don't
choose
know.
2.
I pulled random numbers out of my bum.
How many,
capacity.
Donald?
How many people are dying tonight?
Yes, major characters.
Major characters. I definitely think the dragon dies tonight.
That's one.
That's a major character, right?
Yeah.
Please don't choose 3 because I don't have that number.
4 minus 1.
I think. What numbers do you have?
I have all of them except for 3 and 8.
How many people are left?
I'd say maybe
I think
like
56 people died tonight. 56 people died tonight.
56
Put
main
it down.
characters. Main
Put it down. Put me down for 56, son.
got Donald down for 56.
I'm gonna find that waiter and try to bet against him. Jeff and IHOP, we're coming against you. I want my money.
I'm gonna go with the more conservative number of 4. But okay. Oh, it's now on the ground. There we go. This segment's over. Follow me over there. I'm here now.
With your numbers.
Okay, with my numbers. I brought numbers with me. Okay, so hot takes on this episode. It's coming up. Final episode. Nick, what do you think's gonna happen?
We're gonna meet King Gendry Baratheon, the first of his name.
Nice.
Nice. Gendry. I forgot about him.
Yeah, they set up that whole thing, and I think that's gonna.
They're really good at paying off.
He's gonna be
so-
the last one left, and then Gendry's gonna be like, "Oh, I want to marry Elrond."
One of my favorite theories that I said as a joke for many years was that basically Game of Thrones was going to end. This was before Rickon came back. Was that Game of Thrones was going to end with all of Westeros being leveled, everyone dead, everything destroyed, and then from behind a rock, Rickon and Shaggy Dog would pop out and be alive. Since they have both died, now I'm going to go with Hot Pie as their replacement. Everyone is dead, and he's just the only one left that we care about.
Your credibility started 6 weeks ago so high, and now it's just.
You've been hanging out with Nikolai.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nick has me all aboard the Hot Pie train.
Yeah.
Donald, any big predictions, theories? Do you think anyone's gonna die? I can add them to our graveyard.
I think Holdor comes back from the dead to
Oh, we
No,
don't.
I'm lying. I don't believe that.
That doesn't work with
And I
my
don't think
little
you believe
graveyard.
that
So
either.
There are more people left.
I
alive
honestly
than I thought.
believe Tyrion Lannister ends up on the Iron Throne
right.
tonight. I don't know how it's gonna happen, but somehow, some way, for a brief second, the little guy runs everything. I'm gonna put it
I
out
like
there.
that.
I'm
I
down
like
for
that.
that.
I do have kind of a serious one to really drag
Okay.
everything down before we have to wrap everything up. To me, the thing, like my biggest question going in is not who ends up on the Iron Throne, like who lives, who dies. That I just kind of want to have happen. But my bigger question is like, what ultimately is Game of Thrones going to be about? Because for many seasons, this show was about the idea of leaving the world a better place than our forefathers, of breaking the wheel, of just being better than those who came before us. And Daenerys showed last week that doesn't happen, right? That she seemed to have backslid into doing exactly what her father wanted to do, but didn't. And I think if they go on that route, my big question is like, what is the point then? What is the point of Game of Thrones, of everything that we've gone through? And could it be that the point is there is no point? And I've kind of been going back to this moment that Tyrion and Jaime had this conversation several seasons ago before the trial by combat that Tyrion had, where he told the story of his cousin killing beetles, and Tyrion was racked with what was the point? What was the point that all these beetles had to die for no reason? And I wonder if that ultimately, and he never got an answer, and I wonder if that ultimately is going to be what this final episode is. Many questions,
I
we
agree.
never get an
I
answer.
kind of agree with that. I think it does come full circle. It comes back to what we started with at the beginning, when Ned Stark dies. Dude, what was the purpose of it all? There was no purpose of it all.
Yeah.
We followed him for a whole season for no reason, just to watch him get his head cut off and a new story to begin. I think it's poetic justice if that's how this show ends.
Yeah, if you know,
I'm into that.
we're fated to make the same mistakes of those who came before us, one way or another, and you can't break the wheel.
Yeah.
It's very dark, but very Game of Thrones.
That's very deep. I think that Sir Davos is gonna smuggle whatever Tyrion asked him to smuggle. And now
Oh, it was Jamie. It was
Was it
Jamie to get
that was
back-
it?
yeah.
Okay, well it
He
already
did it.
happened, so I was correct.
Screw it, back to nihilism.
But now it's time for watching the actual show, not on this because we're not streaming it. So again, we're not streaming the episode. You have to watch it on HBO.
Where do you watch it?
On HBO.
Not here.
But you should come back afterwards because we will be live after HBO's Inside the Episode, so make sure you come back. This is IGN Watch Party for Game of Thrones presented by Army National Guard. And after you've watched the episode, please send us your burning questions in the comment section. Oh my gosh, the prompter is so confused right now. Bye guys, we'll see you next time. That's it. Final episode. Let's go. Let's go. for Game of Thrones, presented by Army National Guard. I am your host, Sydney Goodman, and with me today is Nick Mundy.
You know, I always knew Bran was special. And it really paid off believing in Bran.
And we've got Terry Schwartz.
So that's Game of Thrones.
That's the Game of Thrones. And our very special guest, Doug Faison.
Still such a good Bran impression.
But now he's kind of like, oh, watch me.
You have to put like a crown on him
No,
now,
use
though.
beer.
Oh, even better.
Okay, so obviously this is a show where we talk about spoilers, so just a heads up, we're talking about spoilers. To start off, you each have 5 seconds. We'll start with you, Nick. Give me your reaction to the finale.
That was a TV show I watched and I spent with friends.
Oh, you took mine. Terry, how you feeling? Oh yeah, you're so happy. Your dude kind of did some guess. Donald, how you feeling?
I'm just so happy that no one will ever sing this song again. Dun 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 dun. It has buried itself. No longer will we sing this song to each other in the street. From here on out, Game of Thrones is over.
That's right. After tonight, we're legally not allowed to ever talk about it again.
No, so that actually
For
is
what?
the last time that you're ever going to hear that song. So.
You sweet summer child.
Okay, so let's dive right in. Once again, guys, spoilers. So there's no more Game of Thrones. How do
What
we
do you think
feel
is going to
about the
happen in
ending?
the next episode, though?
I think you
Brandon's
missed the whole finale thing, Terry.
What?
So, but do we
over.
feel this is a proper resolution? I mean, it's closing the chapter. Nick, we'll go in a circle again.
I mean, it just happened. Can we, like...
It did just happen.
I feel like
It's a thing that
we're going to
literally
need
just
some more
happened.
time to
You
think
need more
about
time?
it.
Okay, well, Donald.
Just in general. As a general we.
I just hope everyone's satisfied.
Are you,
You can never be satisfied.
Am
I
I
will never be
satisfied?
Are you satisfied?
I don't think. I think that's the right answer right there. I don't think anyone will ever be satisfied with
That's true.
This
with
episode,
anything.
This episode made sense, and then it was somewhat disappointing all at the same time.
Really? I think
But like it was good.
I liked it. I
Okay.
think my prediction was wrong. I think I largely
Sorry, remind us what
liked
prediction was it?
That I wouldn't like it.
Got it.
And I think I was wrong, and I think I did like it.
That's good.
I think I'm gonna need to go back and watch the whole season again, and
You were
then the
gonna
whole
do that
series
anyway.
again,
You
and then
were-
read all the
that's just
books,
excuse.
and then watch the season again, and then watch this
that's
episode
a
again.
disease.
And so I'll hear the theme song a lot. But I think largely I found it satisfying, which I didn't expect. I think most of it made sense. I really liked how the Daenerys stuff paid off. Though I don't get why Bran would let Sansa let the North be her own thing. That's one thing that I'm like, this
we'll
doesn't quite
definitely
make
get
sense.
to that.
Yeah.
We'll definitely get to that.
Okay, I'm gonna have to disagree.
Please.
Okay.
Please
So-
disagree.
You look
I
so
did. I just don't understand. I really enjoyed the show. We had a little conversation before all of this started, but
Give
here's where you kind of lost me, GOT.
it
He
to us
kills
straight.
her. They're sitting down having a council amongst lords, and they can't figure it out, so they go get the dude in jail.
Yeah, no, I thought that too. It was like they must have spent weeks being like, guys, what do we do?
What the heck?
What
Right,
do we do?
right,
What are we
right,
gonna
right,
do? What are we
right.
gonna do?
Well, how I took it was like it takes time to travel between places in Game of Thrones, even though the show sometimes forgets it. And we know, based on the first episode ever, it takes about a month to get from King's Landing to Winterfell or vice versa. So I took that as it took until this time for all the lords to get there, and then they're like, as the remaining lords, who should be king? And that's why they went until that point to pull Tyrion out and have him kind of talk
But
about.
why did they pull him out?
Because again, they still
cave?
couldn't figure it out. They're like, I don't know
He
what to
also
do.
technically is the only Lannister left for that house.
Yeah, I wrote that down. I don't know. That logic. I think I suspended my disbelief for a lot of this episode based on how the rest of the season has
Sure,
gone.
same.
I think that really primed
I just
my
have
reaction
never
to
seen
this.
in any form of history of our world or anything where the dude convicted gets to tell everyone this is how it's gonna go. Listen, guys, I know I've been locked up for a really long time, but check this out. What we're gonna do is look, we're gonna make Bran the king, and I'm gonna rule by his side. And then I'm free.
And then the weird thing is, Wormtongue escorted him out, but it's like, I'm sorry, not Wormtongue. That's
This is the final episode.
No,
Your only job
I like that his name is Wormtongue.
Okay, Grey Worm. I didn't learn the new name. Was like, hey, I don't like this, but I'm literally doing
Right.
this.
Yo, whatever you say, it's all good. It's all good. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I hate it.
Right. But I'm not. But it's all good.
But he's
Right.
not like, his queen died. He's not really commander of anything
So
anymore.
then why have this dude in chains and carry him out and throw him out in front of all of
But-
these people? Why send him to do it then if that's the
I
case?
think they're
if he has
determining-
if he has no control of this city anymore, why is he like, why does he get to say, I disagree with what you're saying, Jon Snow must do all of this if he has no control?
Yeah,
I
I
think
don't
there's a
know.
respect. They would have made him a lord.
Do you think
Jon
that
Snow
it's
saved the-
respectful?
Jon
I don't
Snow's-
know. I was a little bit confused knowing what we know about the Unsullied and the Dothraki, that they were kind of, this sounds really judgmental, but that they were so civil in this situation. Like their king just got murdered, or queen, and they're just kind of like, okay, well, like you can have Tyrion, I guess. And I mean, like he did make that comment where he's like, oh, that's not enough that he's gonna be the hand of the king forever. But I don't, it just felt really uncharacteristic. And to me, I feel like a lot of this season was that, was kind of jumping to the final point of these character arcs. And while I kind of took a step back after last week's episode, I didn't love it. But thinking about like, oh, this is how like Jaime and Cersei are wrapping up, and now this episode, and knowing how these characters wrap up, I'm not upset about that. It's more that we just jumped the gun on all of it.
And I think this goes back to this sense of this season and last season feeling so rushed. Like, imagine if killing Daenerys was the end of one season and all that came after was another season.
Just
Like,
a season-long council meeting.
of figuring everything out, right? Like
Yeah.
instead we got a montage. I get that. I can kind of fill in the blanks for some of it. Frankly, I was just so excited that the show remembered Edmure Tully as a character and Robin Arryn as a
Oh yeah,
character.
Robin was back, and he's kind of
And,
like a handsome dude.
We get
It's
to
like,
see the
okay,
Prince of
Robin.
Dorne. Yeah,
Yeah.
the comment from our social producer was, talk about a glow up.
I don't know what that
think
means.
we're currently puzzling away. I have writers hard at work, but like maybe one of the other people was Howland Reed. We still never saw Mira again. That's kind of a
Yeah.
bummer.
And then
So-
we also forgot about the fact that the rightful heir to the throne was still Jon Snow, and we still didn't do anything about that either. So he kills her. I thought if you killed the king or killed the queen and
You
you were
get to
next
be-
in line, doesn't that make you?
But that's
Highlander.
the whole season, right? Like
That's
whole
not high. There
series.
can only be one Highlander. There can only be
This
one.
is the choice to break the wheel. And the wheel is, sure, Jon could have been king. He would have been a dumb king. He would have sucked as king.
I think he
Instead-
accidentally stabbed Daenerys.
I don't
He
think
just
he
kind
does.
of flipped
He meant to do it to
the
himself.
sword.
Yeah.
He's like, and for that, I'm going, oh shit!
I did like that it mirrored
That went
the
in the
way.
wrong way. I
Honestly,
went
that's
this
the most
way.
that's the most on-brand character moment that would have happened in this entire season.
But I did like that it kind of paralleled when the Ollie and everyone kind of mutinied against him and killed him in similar spots and left him there to die. But no, Dragon came to save him. But I did like that they decided from here on out we're going to choose our rulers. It might not be full democracy, but it'll be
But it's
democracy
something.
light.
That was so
Yeah.
funny.
Okay, so wait. We kind of just glossed over the fact that Jon kills Daenerys. That's a big deal.
On purpose.
I really loved that whole. I really liked how that played out. I mean, like
It
in
was
the
good. It
sense
was
of
a-
storytelling.
No,
not
you're right. It was
that
good. It was
thing.
Are you okay?
I loved this scene between Jon and Tyrion, where Tyrion just basically explained what everyone else had to figure out between the episodes about why Daenerys would do this, because we don't get it from her. When she started saying that stuff about like, we're gonna conquer the world, then you're like, so many warning signs. Also, no one else learned Valyrian, so they would have known. But yeah, I love that scene between Jon and Tyrion and found it very affecting as he kind of laid it out and put it out for Jon.
We're gonna miss Game of Thrones.
No,
We're gonna miss these friendships.
we're gonna miss all of the. I am gonna miss all of the money I made off this show.
Did you make any money off of tonight's episode?
I did not, but I was close to it. Tyrion almost was on the Iron Throne, y'all. He was this close.
Yeah,
Can we
He
talk
was
about how
this
Daenerys
close.
never, ever, ever got to sit on the Iron Throne?
Good.
She
She
walked
had
up
a
to it.
second. She had
a
that
second.
one
She
second,
never-
and she chose
She
not
never
to.
did. Her vision was her death. If you think about it.
Okay, so we're talking about Daenerys. I have a question. In the beginning, so I felt like at the end of last week's episode, it felt like she knew what she was doing wasn't right necessarily. Was I the only one who got that? And then this episode, it felt like she was like, no, I did the right thing, and like this was really righteous.
So what's easy to kind of forget about the last week's episode is the last thing she actually says is to Tyrion, like, if you screw up again, I'm going to kill you. From there on out, like, we see her when she makes, like, we see some close-ups to her. She's destroying the city, and we see the close-up on her face when the bells ring and she chooses to go after King's Landing. But we never see her again. From there on out, she's just synonymous with the dragon, and, like, it's that long shot of Drogon. So we never got a sense to check in with her to see how she felt about it.
I think because of her face and how last week when we were talking about it, we kind of made this assumption that she was like, no, now this is personal.
Right.
Just kind of made me feel like it was like a personal vendetta versus like, oh, I'm trying to free this whole city.
I don't want a Monday morning Khaleesi, but I do feel like if we got some of this motivation the previous episode,
Or the episode before that, or the
Yeah,
episode
or
before
something- yeah,
that, or,
or
like
at
last
any point
season.
this
or any
season.
of these scripts
I
where
don't
it's
know.
like, okay, I think you're wrong, but I understand somewhat where you're coming from.
Yeah.
The last week's episode would have been a little bit more palatable, but instead we just got like, but like I thought she was great in this episode, and that all worked for me. And then I liked the Office comedy that happened for the
Afterwards.
last half hour, where it was like, oh, we got the new boss. He's a little funny.
I wanted to see him check in on Drogon. Where's Drogon, guys?
Okay, so
Killing
actually,
Marine.
we'll talk about where is he, but Terry, maybe you can answer this. How did he know to torch the throne?
I think he was just pissed, but because Jon was a Targaryen, he
couldn't kill him?
I loved this moment though.
Well,
I'm really
I guess
happy
I
the
was
throne.
just, yeah.
It is
I
very
didn't-
Now
metal.
the throne is Bran's just going to be sitting on his wheelchair, and that's going to be
That,
the new
there
throne.
were a couple of really great moments. I think our introduction to Daenerys in this, when she walks in right
Yes.
here,
The Rocky
I
step.
think that is amazing.
That
right
shot
there.
right
shot.
there.
That was dope, and I thought it was going to be a little bit of a foreshadowing, and I was pleasantly, I'm happy that it wasn't. Because
there was
if she would have
nothing else
turned
to
if she would have turned into a dragon lady at the end of the show through magic, I think I would have freaking flipped every table in the viewing room. I'm just going to put it out there.
Yeah, that whole first 20 minutes was very metal. It was like
I
watching
love-
an Iron Maiden band. Like,
I kind of wish that the whole episode was the first 20 minutes. Like that tone kept continuing. I mean, Donald, maybe you don't know, but I was all for like everyone dying and burning and us like it being a very bleak
How
ending.
very Cersei of you.
Wouldn't you know? She's my favorite character. I was holding up my ring. Huzzah. But yeah, I don't know. I was just really hoping that maybe she would win or something. The like fun, happy ending wasn't really what I was expecting. How did you guys feel about the closure of those characters?
I'm fine. I'm actually fine with it, to be honest with you.
yeah, that was a pretty
Okay.
powerful scene, and
Which one?
like when Tyrion was like lifting the bricks off Cersei
Oh,
and
yeah,
Jaime's
yeah.
Yeah.
corpses.
Good
You know what?
work
Yeah,
for,
you know, I was,
for Peter Dinklage.
when that was happening, I was like, if he walks around this thing and they escaped, I'm gonna be so disappointed in how this ends.
I was like,
This
what if
is-
he's stepping on her?
That would be even better.
And then he didn't. He
That would
didn't.
be
I
great
was
too.
kind of worried that something would fall and he would also die there.
I still don't know if they're not having sex, and then all this stuff fell out. Those two did a lot
I mean,
of
final
weird things.
moments.
I loved, I mean, to continue with the Hamilton references, I loved Brienne filling out the rest of Jaime's, Lord Commander
Bad
story
way.
in there. And like, it was like, who lives, who dies, who tells your stories, right? Is like
Yeah.
kind of this episode. Also, hilariously, that Tyrion didn't make it into Song of Ice and Fire, as Sam suggested, that I'm blanking on the name of the Archmaester, Ambrose, that he wrote his tome about the rise of King Robert Baratheon and the wards that came after.
You must be really great with names.
When you have to write them in like multiple articles a day for years and years and years, you learn all the characters' names
So
and
you
how
know
to spell
all the
them.
characters' names in Game of Thrones, but like people in your life, you're like,
Nothing. I'm like, Mike?
I'm just, all I know is
Donald.
the next.
That's your husband, guys.
I have a
that
note.
was
I have
the
a
joke
note
there.
too, so I don't forget.
All I know is the
Joe?
next big fantasy saga movie thing. The guy named Sam, who is kind of a wiener and likes writing, is probably gonna win, and he's gonna write a book.
Are you
feel like
sad we
that's a
didn't see
save.
Gilly again?
Yeah,
But yeah, where is she?
I mean, she's probably back at
Well, she's
Cornhill.
not. But she's not living there with him.
It's going to be hard to see another, unless it's by the people that created Game of Thrones. And luckily, we have this prequel coming and everything like that. But it's going to be really hard to create a bunch of characters like this. I think this is the first time in a long time where there were more characters than you could possibly imagine, and you just got invested, and you still were invested. And I think it'll be a long time before we see anything like Game of Thrones anytime soon.
That's not true. We're attached to a Highlander reboot.
I mean, it reminds me a lot of Lost. I don't know, did you guys watch Lost? Were you
No,
invested
I
in
never
Lost?
watched
so
Lost.
much.
I mean,
I
that was
never
another
watched
case of like this big ensemble of characters that the last couple seasons, it took some turns you weren't expecting and maybe you didn't like, and it had an ending that was
Yeah.
super divisive, which I imagine that I tweeted that like I liked this, and a lot of people were like, huh? And the other people were like, yeah.
I feel like I just tweeted like ha 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 what? Because that's just kind of how I feel. I don't know that I have a real opinion. It's just kind of like, oh,
I mean, but there's closure.
Yeah,
There's
I mean, there is.
closure.
Like,
Yeah.
it felt like a story. Like Jon Snow with the wildlings felt like
That's
the most
yeah.
truthful thing that could have
Right.
Yeah.
happened. Sansa leading the North. Sure, there's like logistical issues, but she's brothers with the other king.
Right.
So like that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
these endings.
Arya going off.
Yeah, these endings
very-
felt in a season that felt like what? Okay, none of this makes sense. This episode made sense.
yeah.
And it makes me think, how much did George tell them that this was going to be the ending?
I mean, he did. He told them roughly what the ending would be, and my thing that I'm curious about as a fan of the books is like, I think that Bran will become king.
Did you read the books?
Are you gonna miss saying that?
I'm very disappointed. So this episode is called The Iron Throne. I really thought it was going to be called A Dream of Spring, which is what the final book is supposed to be called. And as you're like, drink. But I believe that like Bran will probably become king in the novels as well, but I think the journey will be different and make more sense, and he probably won't be portrayed and characterized the same way that he was here, which is like a non-character for
Wiener.
multiple seasons, just a human wiener, as
Yeah.
Nick likes to say.
Okay.
But what did you guys think about, of all people, it being Bran?
It made sense. It made sense. It made sense.
Yeah, it makes complete sense. And his final line actually made sense too. The dude knows the future. He knew it was going to happen the whole time. So you should show up.
I thought it was pretty cocky.
Show up to your coronation a little early. No, it's done.
That brings up a question that I had, which was, does everyone else there, like at the council, do they all know he is the Three-Eyed Raven, and do they understand like what that is? How wide is that knowledge?
I'm glad it's not Robin.
Well, so then I guess my thing is, no one really necessarily knows the true value of him being king then if they don't know
Except for
that.
Tyrion.
Tyrion does.
Because they had that conversation earlier in the season where
But I'm saying everybody else had to vote on it. So they were just like, yes, this,
they're like, well, it's better than the
Randa.
people.
yeah, voting. We'll just vote this. Well, the prisoner will just
I think
let
it's
us know.
interesting that they never, I mean, maybe it all happened off screen, but that they never even considered Jon as Aegon
Yeah,
Targaryen.
I agree with that.
Well, remember, Tyrion told them what to do. The prisoner
Right.
in chains told them what to do, and they did it.
The martyr.
Okay, so what's next for each key character? Let's just, I know we've kind of touched on everybody, but Arya, she's going out to explore.
What's west of Westeros? Let's
Yo,
find out
and
in a
she
sequel.
never. And that's a great
feels like a
idea
good
for a sequel.
tagline.
And she never did the mini face thing again.
She never
She
did. What
never
was
did the mini
point?
face thing again.
What was the point?
It was, well, you know what the point was, because they needed freaking writing in episodes in season 6 and season 5. They needed to freaking write some storylines, so they wrote about something that would never come up ever.
See, I was
ever
kind of hoping
again.
that I know logistically, like, how would she have had Jon's face? But I was kind of hoping that was her doing it because Drogon looked at her and I thought he was going to, like, breathe on her with fire. And that it was going to be this reveal that the reason why he could, like, breathe on her or fire her, attack her? I don't
Burn
know.
her.
Thank you. Why-
Dracarys?
Yes. Why he could burn her was because it was actually Arya, not Jon. That's kind of what I
did
wanted.
think Drogon was gonna burn Jon or like set him on fire, and then he was just gonna be like naked, like.
The unburned.
Like, yeah.
And then he was gonna be like, oh no, my wiener. I'm just really.
Would he say
should've written
my
this
or would he say
story.
me?
Wiener.
Me wiener.
But it's probably better that they didn't go with that idea.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So Sansa, she's now queen of the
Sansa's
North.
badass.
Still don't
Which
get why.
how
Well, how?
Well, no, I'm
She's
saying,
Lady
like-
Winterfell.
I mean, I understand that much, Terry. I know I didn't read the books, but I did watch the show.
You'd find out she's at the Eyrie right now.
I think it makes sense. It does make sense because they don't want to start more wars, and they're trying to figure out different things. And like,
That, and she's like the queen of Maine. Who wants to fucking go to Maine, dude?
Wait, here's
She's the queen of the coldest spot on the planet.
they have nothing but snow and Tim Hortons.
Here is the. Oh, that would be such a great reason to visit the North. What is the point of the Night's Watch if the North, which the Night's Watch is above that on the wall that is protecting the world from the wildlings that aren't a problem,
It's a war
and
camp.
the White Walkers that are dead? What is the point of the Night's Watch existing if the North is its own
I
thing?
feel like Tyrion answered that.
Did he?
But he
Explain
was
it
like,
to me because I don't
He
get
said
it.
something about like that's what we need somewhere for the bastards.
That's right.
And the
We
broken
need
to
somewhere
go.
for the-
so
for
it's
the
just like a
criminals to be.
holding cell.
So you just get to like hang out. I guess that's like a goodish life.
I guess.
Yeah, that's what the wall was always like.
what
But
it
they were
always
supposed to
was.
defend it. They were.
They
But
did.
that's true.
But
They weren't like a
would-
source
they were
of defense.
and they were defending it against things that were
wildlings.
right, that
Yeah.
were right. So
Grumpkins.
Now it's just a prison work camp.
And then we've got Tyrion, who is the hand of the king. He
Who is
seems
the
like
king?
he's doing fine. Yeah,
who
he's
is the
basically
king? Let's
king.
keep it 100.
Okay, let's just say the
He's
truth.
basically the king. Bran obviously is king, kind of. Well, he's king as in he's the figurehead
I'm
of the
curious
king.
how he.
I wonder how he rules. Like,
Yeah.
what's his deal? Like, what
He
do you
doesn't.
think
He
he
said
believes
he's
in?
not going to.
What's
he
that
left it
Anne
all to
Hathaway
Tyrion at the end
movie
of it.
where she was like the secretary to?
Wasn't it called like?
You mean Princess
The Intern?
Diaries?
No.
Devil
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
No.
That's one of my favorite
No. The Devil
movies.
Wears
Working girl.
Is he Sigourney or?
He's freaking. No, he's not Sigourney. He's freaking Melanie Griffin.
I think it's Sigourney.
No
he had
way.
a real Sigourney vibe.
He's coming up. He's coming up. He's letting the river run.
Okay,
We
so
should watch that
Bran-
next week.
That would be great.
Next
I'll
IGN
come
watch
back
party.
for that.
Yeah, that'll be our next
So
one.
Brienne is.
Lord Commander
Lonely?
of the Kingsguard.
I know.
Right.
I thought it was interesting that she I thought it was sweet that she wrote
Well,
Jaime's
she knows
history.
his story, right?
Yeah.
She knows who he was more than anyone else, probably even Cersei. So I like that it kind of got that closure for her.
Yeah.
And I did love that small council scene. I like that Bronn got Highgarden. Yeah, I
got what he
love the roles
wanted.
that they all kind of fell
It was a
into.
little
Podrick?
depressing though.
Was there?
Sir Podrick, he's a
I
knight.
know. He's a knight.
What sucks because
Bless his
Brienne
heart.
spent her whole life being a knight, and then Podrick just followed her around, and then it was all night all of a
Do you
sudden.
know how squiring to be a knight works?
And that's
You know
exactly
I
how it
don't.
works.
That's literally exactly how it works.
You know
That's how-
it don't.
That's
I don't
exactly
know very
how it
many
works.
things, and I knew that. Nick.
You don't play D&D?
No one invites me.
Well, we'll fix that.
And
Make a
then
good impression on Donald.
Drogon. What is
Why
he a
didn't we
threat?
find out where he
Where's
is?
the are they worried?
They cut Tyrion off or whoever off when they started talking about it.
I think it was
But
Bran.
they said that he was flying east.
East.
What I want to think, going back to my Valyria stuff from earlier, is that maybe Drogon takes Dany back to Valyria, which is like where the Targaryens came from and the dragons and
Yeah.
everything.
Do you think that Drogon goes out and tries to find Jon then?
No.
He's
I think he
like,
just goes like that's his
hanging out?
mom. Our quote in our kind of little viewing pod was that it was basically the Lion King. It was really sad when like
It was so sad.
Drogon is looking
so
at
I
his mom.
texted my husband and was like, I feel really sad for our cats if we die. And like it just made me really sad.
Also, like the animation on
The difference is your cats will eat you.
Drogon was so good.
Good.
Like I almost wonder if they like
Glad I
did
can
like
continue
some
to
like motion
provide.
capture or something
on somebody's face.
because Drogon like emoted
Emoted.
so
Yeah.
well in that scene. And like going back to him burning down the Iron Throne, like thank you. I forgive Jon not petting Ghost before because he pets Ghost here for like the amazing amount of CGI animation and like all the hard work that went into that scene because it was like
They shot that scene like 3 days ago because they were like, they're going to be so pissed at us. We don't let go.
so we for everyone watching, we kind of had to watch around 2 different TVs, and I think ours was maybe a smidge ahead of you.
It was, yeah.
Did you hear our entire room cheer louder than anything at Jon petting?
It was precious.
No,
We
because
did
you never
hear
invited
that.
us to that room.
You could have come. We're all friends.
It made a big deal
my
to me
God,
that he
look
pet
at
that
him.
dog.
Oh my God, we were screaming,
Oh,
look
what
at
a
the
good
scritches!
boy, what
Look
a
at
good
it!
boy.
And I read, so there's this amazing article on Vulture kind of breaking down why it
I
was
read that
so
one too.
why it was so tricky to animate the wolves. It was more harder than people like me were giving it credit for, where they basically needed to they shot with real wolves on green screen and then had the scene shot elsewhere and then digitally enlarge the wolves to make them here. So to have a human actor and this wolf elsewhere interacting with each other took the most specific amount of precision to make sure everything was right.
And on that note, let's check in with Jeffrey to hear what the internet is saying about the show. Hey, Vega.
I care.
How am I supposed to follow Donald like that?
You can't.
Okay, so overwhelmingly negative on the internet.
I'm actually kind of surprised that it's overwhelming. I thought it would maybe
Yeah.
skew a little
But
bit.
I'll start off with a positive one. I have this tweet from Glory KTH. This shot was awesome. I will say that.
We have the
So
text
good.
and it says the best shot goes to.
Stop plagiarizing.
Yeah.
No, so true.
No, but it's totally true. That was a wonderful shot. What else do you have?
I
Is no one else excited about the ghost scritches?
I think everybody just wants to hate right now. I think there was a lot of good things to take away from the finale. The finale.
But I'm gonna just go with whatever the internet agrees with.
That's what I
Yeah,
usually
a lot of people love that's saying the best part is I have this tweet here from Armin was the Ghost
Verified and
Reunion.
cares.
The Ghost Reunion, and also I have this tweet as well.
Because Armin Sa said so.
How's this for a TBT? First episode.
Oh, we
Yeah.
can't see
We
it.
can't see. Oh.
Yeah.
there it is.
Oh my gosh, look at him.
Aw,
I'm sure that was
scritches.
much easier to film.
That was definitely much easier to film.
Yeah, because John had
Wait, is that it, Vega?
No, I have a bunch, Sydney, actually.
Well, I'm literally asking. I'm not sure if you're giving me more or not.
Fair
If I
enough.
should move on.
Okay, I love this one. This was a meme for Drogon and Daenerys. So.
I thought Drogon was gonna eat her. Did anyone else
Could
think
you-
Drogon was gonna eat her?
No.
I don't think that crossed my mind, but
That was all I was like, don't
We
eat her.
instead questioned that Drogon had opposable thumbs or whatever, that he could just lift her up and fly off.
Well,
with
it's
her.
like
He lifted
Talon.
her with
It
the
makes
talon.
sense.
right?
Then you got the wide shot. It makes sense.
I think Drogon's Kerouacking. He's just figuring out who he is now. He doesn't have his family. He's just reading a
Dragons
bunch
live
of
in the
books.
world, though. That's kind of nice.
He's gonna go to Brown
Dragon.
University.
Yeah.
Turns
One
into,
dragon.
On the
turns into
island.
Sean Connery.
Yeah.
Vega, do you got another one?
Yeah, I have this meme right here.
Dragonheart.
Very real here.
So good.
That is.
Also, I have another similar one to that with our good buddy Samuel Tarley. When you invent democracy and get laughed at.
Oh, poor guy. Well, thanks, Jeffrey. We'll see you in a bit. And for you, the audience, if you have any burning questions, please send them our way, and we'll answer them a little bit later. Please make your questions Game of Thrones related, if that's not obvious. In the meantime, I'm going to go back to our board and see how we did on the final edition of Gaming of Thrones.
Just Daenerys.
They all died.
Well, technically.
Okay, so let's see the results. Will Danny die?
That-
Yes.
screwed up.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
happened. This week, I'm taking down the loser stations.
We're so
Yay.
proud of you, Sydney.
Okay. Please move the prompter. Will Bronn kill Tyrion? Oh, I guess it's right in front of my face. No, that didn't happen. Wait, what?
We lost.
So,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
you guys lost.
Yes. Yes.
Will Arya wear someone's face?
Oh my
No.
God. I
She
am
sure didn't.
0 for 3 right now.
I can't believe that.
Remember
That's-
how I'm the Game of Thrones expert?
Well, she kind of did it in a very
Except
cool
not
way.
at all.
Okay.
She
Except
didn't
not
at all.
I've never written.
There's no way that she did that. So, is there still an Iron Throne left?
At the beginning, hold on now.
I agree.
At the beginning of the episode,
Can we
there
get a
was an
referee?
Iron Throne now.
It was not, is
Hold
there
on.
an Iron Throne at the beginning of
There's
this
there
episode?
an Iron Throne left. It was the name of the thing. And then before the show started, it was there when it started. When it ended, it wasn't. I'm going to say we got that one.
No.
I think it's a tie.
That's
It's a
it.
You
tie.
have to guess, I would
It's a tie.
say.
So will Bran do
Technically, Arya wore a
literally
face
anything
around.
of value?
Yes. Yes.
I mean, does
What did
he?
Bran do?
Justice.
I
He's
don't
king.
know. Can we get the? I really don't know
He's
what to do.
king.
We don't have time for it.
So no, he didn't. Sorry, Terry.
Are you kidding me?
He didn't do
He did
anything.
nothing.
King.
He didn't do anything.
We just laughed at the meme that said when everyone does the freaking class project and you don't, and you get the A. You laughed. You laughed. You laughed.
You did laugh.
What more can Bran do except
Come on now.
literally do anything?
All I'm saying is, for
Justice
somebody
for
who read the
Bran.
book, you don't seem that smart.
With that, will this all end with Sam writing the story?
No.
No, but he did write
Holy
the title.
The title.
Wait, oh, we're right here. Okay.
I think.
So we
I
all
guess
got
he
it
didn't
right.
write it though. He came up with the
Yeah, we're
title,
right
but he
about
didn't
that.
write it.
Will you be happy with the ending? This is pretty subjective. Were you?
I was fine with the ending. I thought
Okay,
I
so
think
you
I
gotta
liked
guess.
it too, so I was wrong.
Okay, so
Were you
Terry
happy?
gets it wrong.
You're opening up another bottle.
I'm not sure, so I'm just
I won again.
okay. And then how many characters died tonight? Obviously, I think just one, right?
Yeah, I think one.
It was just one. So we all kind of got it wrong. Terry was the closest.
Yay!
and
Is that
then
Price is Right rules?
we
You
tied,
at
actually.
home can use your eyeballs to see who won.
Good job. Tie ball game. Tie ball game.
Nick. Actually, Nick did win. Nick very obviously won.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, we have a tie.
Come on now, y'all gotta do the count up.
We
Y'all
have a
gotta count
tie.
up in here. Something. That's a tie. Ain't no freaking.
Wait, you're
nobody
shattering
won.
the
Ain't
illusion.
nobody
I
beat
thought
me.
it's different.
Iron Throne left.
Ain't nobody beat me up in this piece. I said.
Okay,
Damn.
time for the next thing.
Look, you like Highlander, so I said tie.
Tie.
Transition back.
That one was
We
like
finally
a
talked
cute
about
one.
Everything's off the rails.
There can only be one.
Okay,
I'm actually
so-
doing a show right now with Clancy Brown,
What?
famous from Highlander. Just putting it out
Do you
there.
talk about Highlander a lot?
I do.
Are you just like?
Let's just have the watch party be about that.
Well, with that, let's catch up with Jeffrey and try to answer some of your questions. Vega, give us the
Okay.
hard-hitting questions.
Here's hard-hitting questions. Here we go. At Sweet Sour Salad asks, okay,
That's a good
legit question though. What's the point of having a united realm if the North seceded? I mean, places like the Reach would do better by themselves because they don't have to supply the realm. Why no one else seceding?
I agree. This was
That's a great question.
I didn't read that one carefully.
So this is a legit question. This is a legit question. I am validated by it. No, I mean this. I don't think it makes sense the way that it's just glossed over so much. I agree. Like Bran is a Stark on the Iron Throne. Why would the North secede from this? Like Sansa's argument does not make sense to me. Bran just accepting this does not make sense. He's just like, yeah. And I'm like, can you let us in
Maybe
a
'cause
little
he's a
bit
bad king.
on what you were thinking? It doesn't make sense to me. I think I need more episodes to explain it.
Nick,
Well, that ain't happening.
I'm gonna start a petition. For
I
more
mean, it's
Game of
kind of
Thrones seasons.
like, hey, you're the North. Who cares? Do they need the North?
Yeah.
6 is a better.
But
Six
no, I
kingdoms.
agree. It doesn't.
Seven
It doesn't
kingdoms.
make
That sounds
sense
better.
why when Sansa said, "Okay, but the North is just gonna secede from the realm," that everyone else didn't say the same or push back against
I
it.
think
Yeah,
because
I
they have
agree.
the power and like the men and like the resources to be like, nah.
Yeah, and none of it makes sense to me. None of it makes sense.
Sorry,
I don't have
we
an
can't answer your
Sorry,
question.
but I agree that it's a good question and that it doesn't make sense.
I agree as well. Vega, do you got another question?
Oh yes, I have a tweet here from Mecha AO. They asked, did Jon choose to live with the Wildlings and leave the Night's Watch?
That's actually also a question I had.
Yeah.
Terry?
Yeah.
No, I have the same question. And so there was no Inside the Episode this week. I believe the documentary that HBO, documentary movie that HBO is, I hope there was nothing embarrassing on that desktop, that HBO is airing will answer some of those questions.
And that's next week.
Yes,
right?
that's airing next Sunday, and it's like this whole big movie that they made about making this episode. I took it as Jon just helping them find a new home, bringing them back north of the Wall, but then eventually he will go back to the Night's Watch. Like Jon is a man of duty for all that he broke his vows to the Night's Watch before and killed his sworn queen. I do think that he'll come back, so I took it as him just helping the Wildlings return home now that there's no threat.
I took the opposite. I think it's like Tormund said it a couple episodes ago. It was like, no, you're one of us. You're not like one of these Southerners. Like, you're one of
Yeah.
us. You're one of the true North. So I think he's with them. He's like, screw these guys.
Well,
I
they
don't-
gave
are
him
me.
Ghost.
That's true.
So does he stay
And he
with
wasn't
them?
wearing black at the end. He was wearing brown.
Oh, interesting.
But he
point.
wasn't
I
wearing
did not
that
notice
digital
that.
camo.
Interesting. I mean, there's no real
Digital
reason
camo.
that the Night's Watch needs to be at Castle
Needs
Black
to
anymore
exist.
because, like, the Wall was to protect everyone from the Wildlings and the White Walkers, and they aren't really a threat anymore. So,
Well, there we
We're doing
go.
a bad job answering these questions.
Vega, you got another one?
Oh yes, I have a tweet here from Jay Whitford 33. Where did Drogon take Dany? They just noped out of there.
They did. Terry, I feel like you had a good answer to that.
Yeah, I mean, they said the half answer we got was something about Drogon flying to the east. My theory is maybe he goes to Valyria, which again is like kind of where the Targaryens were from. Originally, we know it's kind of a wasteland, but where else is Drogon going to go? And if you remember when we did see Valyria before, and Drogon was pissed at Dany because she tied up her other children in Meereen, he was kind of hanging out in that general area. So I think that might be where, instinctually he just chooses to go back to.
That's another thing we should touch on real quick. Remember, she lost control of the dragons for a little bit of time. And how did she gain control again of them?
I think that I think what's kind of implied is it's almost like a warging-like connection that the show never gets into, that there's some kind of like mental, emotional connection that she has with them that allows her to control them. And I also kind of took it as like that's why when she was riding on Drogon, he was a bit more adept at avoiding like the scorpion bolts and everything versus Rhaegal, who didn't, Rhaegal and Viserion, who didn't have anyone on them when they were flying around. But I might just be coming up with answers for the show.
Do you think
that
that
was just
works?
bad writing?
Do you think that connection then after Daenerys died, like Jon told the dragon to burn
Right.
down the throne?
Do you think
Maybe.
John? That's
I like that.
Oh, wait,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, Nick.
That's a good question.
I like that.
It was super metal.
I like that. Jon might not have known that he had that connection, but that
course not.
Drogon, was looking at him.
doesn't know
And I think
anything.
because Jon is a Targaryen, and we see that, Drogon has a similar connection with him, that he can kind of understand his thoughts. Yeah.
I thought the dragon was going to be like, all right, you did what you did, and the throne is no longer in play. Let you and me go.
Yeah, I thought that.
I thought that's what was going to happen.
He was like, oh man, we gotta bury the body.
Right.
We gotta bury the body. Okay,
Let's
Really
get rid of the
switch
body.
sides?
It's you and me. Let's go. Go on the run.
All right, you get pull out $3
Like-
grand, and then we'll just ride out
We're on
south.
the run like Arkansas Dave Rudaball.
So we want to thank you guys so much for hanging with us these last 6 weeks. Those were our final words about them hiding the body.
That's how it is. With the Young Guns reference. Game of Thrones ends with the Young Guns reference.
Because regulators.
Regulators.
This has been IGN Watch Party for Game of Thrones, presented by Army National Guard. But good news, we're not quite ready to end our watch. We've got a special musical send-off from the a cappella group Top Shelf in 1 minute. But first, a few thank yous from the cast of Game of Thrones themselves. And this isn't like a joke video, it's actually them. So you should stay and watch.
Now our story is over. Thank you so much for watching us all these years.
I've got a huge thank you for all the fans.
Thank you so much for joining us on this mad, mad journey.
You've been amazing. Without you, we wouldn't be here. So, thanks a lot.
Thank you for watching. We're just so grateful and we love you very much.
Thank you so much for enjoying this show. It's been a ride for us.
And the reason this show has become a big success is because people watch it. So you guys are as responsible for the success of the show as we are. So thank you for the support.
The passion that people put into theories, fan art, podcasts, YouTube videos, it just has all made it such an incredible thing to be a part of.
I can't tell you what it's meant to me, and I couldn't end without saying Hodor.
I hope you enjoyed it. Bye.
What do we say to the god of death?
Not today.
And now I've struck a king. Did my hand fall from my fist?
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
I did not kill Joffrey, but I wish that I had.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Please move. Excuse me. Thank you. Move. Lights. I finally finished my book. It's called Goodnight Thrones. Do you want me to read it? Yeah, you do. In the great red room, there was an iron throne and a golden hand and some siblings who just like to bone. The kids from up north, the Dothraki and so forth. A girl with lizards and a guy who brought blizzards. The smart little dude and a city that got screwed. A nice boy with books and a witch with good looks. Those guys with their sticks who all had no dicks. Goodbye, throne. Goodbye, siblings who like to bone. Goodbye, Starks. Goodbye, crazy dead monarchs. Goodbye, lizards. Goodbye, blizzards. Goodbye, little dude. Goodbye, city that got screwed. Goodbye, books. Goodbye, looks. Goodbye, sticks. Goodbye, dicks. Goodbye, thrones. I'm never gonna finish them.
Peter Dinklage.